Welcome to Review Every Ship by CitizenCon 2024. The point is to give an update on every ship, since some haven't had a video made about them in years, and others, the information is simply too spread out to be helpful in making decisions. Remember, digital ships aren't imaginary, digital ships are imagine necessary. Every month we do a giveaway to give back to this wonderful community. This month's giveaway prize is an RSI Mantis with LTI. That comes with both the M50 and Mantis Skull Crusher skins. To enter the contest, make sure you subscribe to Billionaire Ninjas, leave a comment on at least one video, and like or dislike at least one video. Winners have 2 weeks to claim their prize. Members collectively have a 25% chance of winning just for being members, so if you're subscribed, consider hitting that join button, and if you're not subscribed, I appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. For the full giveaway details, make sure you visit our Billionaire Ninjas Discord or our social media at Ninjas Leap. Today, we continue our short ride through the Origin manufacturer, and the next ships are the Origin 300 series and its 3 variants. We have the 300i, 60 standalone, $55 war bond, was $50 at concept, cost about $1.4 million in game. The 315p, $65 standalone, 65 war bond, was $65 at concept, cost about $1.5 million in game. The 325A, $70 standalone, 70 war bond, was $70 at concept, cost about $1.9 million in game. The 350R, 125 standalone, 100 war bond, was $100 at concept, cost about $3.8 million in game. The 300 series is always available for sale, with the exception of the 350R, which is limited. However, the 300i and the 315p are the only variants available for rent, and the one-day price is about 42,000 and 31,000 credits, respectively. If you're going to travel the stars, why not do it in style? The 300i is Origin JumpWorks' premier luxury spacecraft. It is a sleek, silver killer that sends as much of a message with its silhouette as it does with its weaponry. Exploration is man's highest calling. Prepare to chart distant horizons with man's most sophisticated piece of technology, the Origin 315p, featuring a more robust power plant and a custom scanning package exclusively designed by Chimera Communications. Just because it's a rough galaxy doesn't mean you need to sacrifice your comfort. The 325A can come out on top in any dogfight. The 325A features an advanced weapon payload as well as a custom targeting system designed especially for the 325A by Wills Up. Origin JumpWorks 300 series is the ultimate fusion of elegance and power. Every component, every part is individually calibrated, so no matter which model and options you choose, your ship will stay in perfect harmony as the ultimate in astro engineering. By far, the fastest member of the family, the 350R, refocus all of the 300's power and translates it into pure speed. The Origin 300.
This is blasphemy! This is madness!
Madness. This is Sparta!
For measurements, the 300i, 315p, and 325a are all the same, including the 350R. The length of 27 meters, beam 17 meters, height 8 meters. They are all size 2 small ships. For crew, the series all have the same minimum and maximum crew, which is 1. The 300i carries 8 SCU, the 315p carries 12 SCU, the 325A carries 4, and the 350R carries 4. The claim time for the 300i is about 8 minutes, expedited is about 2.5 minutes, and the fee is 3,600 credits. The 315p is about 5 minutes, expedited is about 2 minutes, and the fee is 2,600. The 325A is about 6 minutes, expedited is about 2 minutes, and the fee is 3,900. And the 350R is about 10 minutes, expedited is 4.5 minutes, and the fee is 4,600 credits. The 300 series all have the same speeds, a top SCM speed of 260 and a max speed of 1425. The SCM speed is way above average overall and is way above average for its class size. These 4 ships are currently tied for 3rd fastest ships in their class and 7th fastest in the entire game, and it's the exact same story for their nav max speed, tied for 3rd fastest ships in their class and 7th fastest in the entire game. For maneuverability, the 300 series is above average overall as of 3.24.1, and as far as the small class of ships, it's about average. For hydrogen capacity, the 300i and 325A are the same, which is above average overall and way above average for its class. For the 350R, hydrogen capacity is average overall and above average for its class. For the 315P, hydrogen capacity is way above average overall and way above average for its class. It's tied with two other ships, the Terrapin and Mustang Beta, for best in class. When it comes to quantum fuel, the 350R is average overall and above average for its class. The 325A is average overall and slightly above average for its class. The 300I is average overall and is slightly above average for its class as well. The 315P is way above average overall and above average for its class, reaching the top 10 in its class. Quantum stats for all the 300 series is planetary, meaning you will be able to travel to another planet in the solar system and maybe the next solar system one way, but for the latter, you may need to refuel once along the way. The 315P is the exception, however. It has solar range, meaning you will be able to make at least one round trip from one end of the system to the other end and definitely make it to another solar system, but you will need to refuel after one round trip. For weapons, the entire 300 series all come stock with two size 3 pilot-controlled Panther repeater weapons, no remote turret guns, and no manned turrets. The 300I and the 350R also come with a size 3 Shredder ballistic repeater and two size 2 Strike Force cross-section missiles. The 315P comes stock with Tempest missiles instead of Strike Force missiles, but no third weapon. The 325A upgrades the size 3 ballistic repeater from the 300I to a size 4 Revenant ballistic Gatling, and it has 8 total missiles, 4 Dominator electromagnetic missiles and 4 Arrestor cross-section missiles. The hull HP for the entire 300 series is 8,500, which is below average overall, but for its size, it's way below average. The 350R is the exception though, because it only has 3,500 HP, which is way below average overall and the absolute worst for its class. The shields on the 300i are the Webb Civilian Grade C shields, which are bubble type shields. The shield pool is about 3,000 and it regens at about 134 HP per second. The shields on the 315P are the Shimmer Stealth Grade C shields, which have the same stats as the 300i shields. The shields on the 325A are the All-Stop Military Grade C shields, which have the same stats as the 300i shields. The shields on the 350R are the Targa Competition Grade C shields, which also have the same stats as the 300i. Just a quick note, the shield is still being balanced as far as spaceships. So right now they currently all have the same stats regardless of whether you have the military grade C or grade A or anything like that, as long as they are the same class and you have the same amount of them. For ship parts, the 300 series all have the same size parts. The whole series has one small radar, one small computer, one small power plant, two small coolers, two small shield generators, two small fuel intakes, two small fuel tanks, a small quantum drive, a small jump module, and one small quantum fuel tank. Some special features and amenities for these ships are, each of these ships comes with a bed and a bathroom. All of them, except for the 350R, also have a kitchenette, a storage locker, and a weapons locker. They all have this amazing panoramic view, which is rare in ships of this size, and of course, each of these also has an underslung cargo lift. The 315P has 2 of those cargo lifts. My preferred loadout for the weapons on all these are ballistic Gatlings for all the weapons on these, because you have enough speed and maneuverability to get your guns on target and keep them on target while dodging return fire. I would also change every single missile out for Rattlers, regardless of which ship you have. If you're changing components, I would use Civilian Grade A on the 300i, Industrial Grade A on the 315P, Military Grade A on the 325A, and Competition Grade A or B on the 350R, with the exception of the Quantum Drive. For every Quantum Drive, I would use the Industrial Grade B Quantum Drive because it drastically extends the range of each of these ships. However, if I'm only racing in the 350R, I would keep it Competition Grade A or B. A quick shout out to my first ninjas, StarTouch and Rob, and shout out to my new and first ever Hokage member, Old Weeb. Welcome aboard. My Jonin Ninja members, Radium TX, Paline Tan, The Solid Exodus, Damon Donaldson, Dark Wolf God, and ETL in Spades, and my Chunin Ninja members, Raygun 972, Wakon Yosai, Rage 1, Scorpio King 3, Soul Galaxia, Meat Salad, Praetorian, and J Solus. And of course, all my other members from every level who are all listed at the end of the video. As always, membership is never required, but always appreciated. You help make this YouTube dream even more possible, so thank all of you. Now it's time to rate these ships. A rating I rate from 1 to 10. By 1 is only by if you have a unique reason that is specific to you, or because you like the looks of the ship. My 10 is if you have the money, these ships are almost guaranteed to be useful to you in the game. A 1 doesn't mean the ships are useless or ugly, and a 10 doesn't mean that the ships are perfect. Just remember, these are just our ratings. Please give us yours in the comments down below. We like to print them out and put them on our mirrors so they can motivate us in the morning or demotivate us at night. My rating for this ship is of course going to be handed out based on which variant we're looking at. The 300i is a 6. The 315p is a 7. The 325a is a 6. The 350R is a 5. Let's start with what I like about these ships. They all have great speed, component redundancy, and decent maneuverability. I like the living space in each of them, even the tight one that the 350R has, because these are one-person comfortable living quarters, and each of them serves a purpose. They all have a use case. What I like about the 300i is it's a very nice all-around daily driver. A bit of cargo, decent guns, some missiles, a beautiful view out of the cockpit and the ceiling, and that living space is chef's kiss. The 315p is my favorite of the bunch because it can simply do things that others can't, which is carry significantly more cargo and very high fuel capacity. This thing can go much further than the other variants and bring things back with it, and unless you need the extra gun, it's an even better daily driver than the 300i. What I like about the 325A is it's a decent fighter. Well, at least when it's correctly balanced. But it also has a decent interior, which cannot be undervalued at this size. What I like about the 350R is when the game is a bit more balanced, these ships will be even faster than the other variants. Something I rarely ever hear that is unique to this ship is it will be one of the few dedicated racing ships in the game with a bed inside, along with a bathroom. If I'm not mistaken, it's currently the only racing ship with those features. What are the issues with all these ships and how would I fix them? All of these ships run into the same problem that any ship in this price range runs into. The existence of the Cutter and the Titan make these almost irrelevant. Almost. Not quite as much as the 100 series. See, the addition of the bathroom on the 300 series gives it something that the Titan simply does not have and that the 100 series also did not have. The gameplay isn't in the game yet, but having to find a breathable planet just to use the bathroom is not going to be a fun experience in the Titan or the 100. We often look for a bed and consider that all we need, but toilets will be very important on ships. That being said, when you consider the use case for these ships, they should all be planet to planet and planet to moon type ships anyway. None of these should be in deep space, so the bathroom thing is a bit less useful in that situation, but it does still matter. The 300i is the one hit the worst by the existence of the Titan, because they are almost nearly the same ship, except the 300i has a bathroom and a kitchen, while the Titan has a bed and not even so much as a food processor or microwave. What the Titan does have is more SCU capacity, better maneuverability by a hair, and better HP. It's also one of the best performing fighters in the game as of 3.24.1, so it's better in a fight and has more industrial utility. It's just not a better apartment. The 315p is the one that gives the Titan a run for its money, because the Titan loses that industrial advantage because the 315p can carry a third more cargo and has better hydrogen capacity. It's the better cargo ship of the two, even though it comes at a $5 premium. However, it loses the third weapon of the 300i and the Titan and is much less of a fighter, so it ends up almost falling right back into the same spot as the 300i. Except, if you really do focus on cargo, this is still the better ship. While the Titan would still be the better all-arounder, I could call this matchup a tie. The 325A is the one that I thought would be the best going into this review, but its flight profile still has catching up to do with the Titan, even if it does have better weapons with the added missiles. It just doesn't fly as well as the Titan, but if it did, I would prefer it over the Titan, even if I had to lose that 4 SU of cargo capacity, because this would become an even better all-arounder. However, as of 3.24, that flight profile is wrong, not to mention it has a lot of bugs. Also, if you get the wings blown off of this thing, it really is tough to come back from that. The 350R is a little bit weird because it has the guns of the 300i, which are pretty solid and will be faster than all the other variants, but it loses the kitchen, the storage locker, and weapon locker to do so. I don't mind losing those, but I start to wonder why I'm getting this over the 300i as far as 3.24.1, because right now they have the same exact speed and maneuverability, and the 300i and the rest of the series has twice the hull HP, and it keeps all the amenities that I mentioned. I know they'll fix it eventually, but as of the current patch, the 300i is just clearly better. Unless you know you're going to be primarily racing in this thing, then the 350R might be the better buy as long as you keep it for the long haul. However, you'll run into another problem. Why am I not getting the Avenger Titan for half the price, which has better maneuverability, even if it's only by a hair, and better utility, along with having the same speed? I think the 350R has to get properly balanced before I can start to recommend it to people, but I do think it has a lot of potential. So who are these ships for? Well, currently the whole series is for people who prefer a better vibe and a bathroom in their ships, along with a kitchenette if you get the 3 variants that have it. And that's more than the Titan can offer. While the Titan is versatile, I don't know a lot of people who would call its interior cozy or well designed. The 300i is for the person who prefers the aesthetics of Origin to Aegis. I prefer the looks of the 300i personally, and the 300i can go further and stay out longer than the Titan. The 315p is for the person who knows that they want their starter ship to be cargo focused. There is an argument to be had for the Hull A with a discounted pack price, but that's nowhere near as good of an all-arounder as the 315p. I know it's supposed to be for exploration, but I really wouldn't use it for that unless it's local exploration. The 325A is where you're expecting a fight, and again, when you prefer the aesthetics of Origin over Aegis. The 350R is for people who know racing will be their main gig, but need a place to sleep after the race. I imagine using the 300 series ships in a similar way to the 100 series ships, except the 300 series is better priced and they have bathrooms, except for the 350R. So they are more likely to actually get the job than the 100 series. So even though I could see the 100 series in these roles, I would probably pick the 300 series to actually fulfill them. I would use the 300i as a cheap apartment for any temporary crew on my outpost, and as an extremely cheap exploration ship to send out red shirts, the 325A as basic living quarters for temporary quick reaction force security on my outpost, where they sleep in the ship and fight from the ship when necessary, but also can keep their essentials in the cargo bay. The 315P I can see as my long distance small cargo ship where I don't want to draw a lot of attention to myself, and it would also be where my temporary dock workers would sleep at my outpost, and the 350R would be more of a transport ship plus apartment when I just need to get people from one base to another, and it would be where my transportation NPC made his home. Now, that's a little weird because it doesn't have the 2 seats that I think might be required to move NPCs, but it does have standing room and a bed. So we'll see if we can transport NPCs and if they're willing to lay down in a bed instead of sit down in a seat when it comes to flying. I know you're here for our rating, but if you really want a ship, go buy it. We won't stop you. Or even better, all ships can be earned in-game once the game releases, and some you can purchase in-game right now. These are just our ratings, but when you spend, it's your money. My opinion, these should only be purchased if you're getting them in a starter pack with a discount. Otherwise, you should be starting off with an Avenger Titan or a Cutter, with the exception of the 315P, which I think ties the Avenger Titan and carves out a lane unique enough to be its own solid starter ship. Other than that, it would simply be purchasing the other variants for the better aesthetic and that bathroom or kitchenette. In my case, They are all so cheap, they will be an earn-in game for me. All right, that is it for this one. Shout out to the members. Thanks for spending your time with us. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.